In this Armada, Nissan mounted a GTR-adjacent engine about 3 feet higher and wrapped it in body-on-frame construction. They're charging about $80,000, and they've created a vehicle that requires justification to friends, family, and your own financial anxiety. But there are 6 things you need to know before that justification begins, because the marketing materials won't tell you about the driver assist downgrade, the badge perception tax, and why this drives nothing like a crossover. I'm your host, Brian Makse, racer, lover of driving fast, fun things, and this is the Driver's Cut, decisions for people who drive. This Armada Pro-4X gets Nissan's ProPilot Assist 1.1, where the Platinum trims get the ProPilot Assist 2.1. That version number difference costs you hands-free driving capability, and here's how that cascades into real-world situations. 1.1 can't follow gentle highway curves without beeping at you constantly. It's not calibration, it's limitation. The system physically cannot maintain lane position through gradual bends that human drivers navigate unconsciously, so it beeps repeatedly, insistently, until you correct the steering input it should be handling autonomously. Most Pro-4X owners disable the steering assist entirely within the first month. They keep adaptive cruise control because that actually works, and they turn off everything else because living with constant auditory harassment isn't worth the theoretical convenience. This isn't anecdotal, this is pattern behavior documented across owner forums. But here's the problem, you're spending nearly $80,000 on a vehicle with deliberately inferior driver assistance tech. Nissan's trim strategy penalized the off-road model when the others get all the tech. Plus, much of the competition has a full suite of driver assist, like the Sequoia TRD Pro and the Expedition Tremor. ProPilot Assist 2.1 exists, Nissan builds it, they installed it on the Platinum trim, but if you wanted all-terrain tires and off-road hardware, they gave you the lesser system. That's not feature segmentation, that's punishment for buying the capability trim. And even with this off-road capability trim, you're still doing most of your driving on highways where you could benefit from that driver assist tech. Spending $80,000 on a Nissan creates some social friction that spending $85,000 on a Sequoia or an Expedition might not. This isn't about capability, it's about market perceptions, resale math, and the psychological cost of being a contrarian. And think about this, here's the social economics. Your neighbor buys a Tahoe for $85,000, you buy an Armada Pro-4X for $80,000. Comparable capability, similar interior quality, and you saved $3,000. In 5 years, the Tahoe retains 62% of its value. The Armada retains 53%. So perhaps it's not as simple as saving money on the buy because you lost some relative to market expectations. The Lexus GX commands 15 to 20% better resale after 3 years, not because it's more capable, but because it has decades of JD Power Awards and brand perception that makes grown adults weep with joy at trade-in time. The Armada has a better engine and scrappy underdog energy, and unfortunately the market doesn't recognize scrappy underdog energy. Your friends will question the decision, your family will ask if you considered something else, your colleagues will wonder why you didn't buy the GX. You'll need an explanation prepared, and I valued capability over badge prestige only works if you're psychologically comfortable being correct against market consensus. And this, my friends, is the badge anxiety tax. It's spending $80,000 on a nameplate that signals smart contrarian to enthusiasts, which I agree with, but questionable decision to everyone else. If you need your driveway to signal financial prudence, don't buy anything. And for me, I've always been a contrarian, so this Armada makes a lot of sense as far as I'm concerned, but understand that badge perception definitely has a cost when it comes to resale value. Most crossovers and body-on-frame SUVs represent 2 different philosophies when it comes to driver engagement. This isn't primitive versus advanced, it's isolation versus communication, and understanding the distinction determines whether you'll appreciate what this is or resent what it isn't. Typical crossover philosophy is overdamp the suspension, mask the weight transfer, isolate the cabin from chassis dynamics. You accelerate, the suspension compresses, but you don't feel it. You brake, weight shifts forward, but dampers hide it. You corner, body roll occurs, but you really don't feel all that much. And for a lot of crossovers, the goal is making 3 tons feel like less, and the method is lying to your inner ear. This Armada has a completely different philosophy. Starts with body-on-frame construction, adaptive air springs, and adaptive dampers that control body motion without eliminating feedback. You accelerate, you feel the squat, you brake, you feel the dive, you corner, you feel load transfer happening in real time. The chassis communicates weight transfer through the seat, through the wheel. It's not pretending to be lighter, it's managing mass honestly. And here's what that creates: surprising confidence when you're behind the wheel. You're not being deceived about physics, you're negotiating with them transparently. The Armada tells you when weight is transferring, which lets you modulate your inputs accordingly. Crossovers hide weight transfer until you exceed their carefully managed envelope, and then physics appears suddenly and often violently. And this Armada rewards drivers who understand vehicle dynamics, which is the way it should be. And speaking of which, let's synthesize what this Armada Pro-4X feels like to drive. Not individual systems in isolation, but the integrated experience of piloting 6,000 pounds shaped like a shipping container. Acceleration is smooth, much like inevitability, but it's not violent. Plant the throttle and 516 pounds of torque arrive like a freight train running on schedule. Predictable, relentless, and utterly unstoppable. 0 to 60 happens in the low 6-second range, which is objectively quick and subjectively hilarious. The 9-speed automatic holds gears intelligently, upshifts without drama, rev matches downshifts because Nissan knows you think you're a racing driver. There's very little, if any, turbo lag, and the entire drivetrain calibration masks it perfectly. Steering may be a little numb on center, but as soon as you're off center, it loads up predictably, and then it's properly weighted for when the corners get interesting. You won't confuse this with GTR levels of driver involvement, but you'll never wonder where the front tires are pointing. Turn-in is gradual, you know what's happening. Acceptance is the only rational response. Body roll is present, but it's exceptionally well controlled by the air springs and adaptive dampers. It firms up in sport, raises for off-road, mostly just works without requiring any driver input. Brakes are brake-by-wire with firm pedal feel and immediate response. Stopping 6,000 pounds from highway speeds is all about thermodynamics and friction coefficients. No drama, just proper clamping force applied to big rotors. It's competence without theater. The seating position is excellent. It's SUV high with commanding visibility, properly telescoping wheel, and ergonomics that are just proper, simple, straightforward, and they just make sense. Google built into the infotainment system means actual Google Maps. Voice commands work like you're talking to a competent adult, and space in the third row means actual humans can fit back there. And overall, this drives like honest mass management. It's rapid without pretending to be sporty, capable without athletic delusion. It's this wonderful combination of physics and purpose that are aligned perfectly. And I love what owners have to say after living with their vehicles for a while, which is completely a different experience than what I have during a 7-day press loan. First, that ProPilot 1.1 limitation isn't theoretical. Most owners disable steering assist within a month and only use adaptive cruise. It beeps constantly on gentle curves, and living with auditory harassment isn't worth theoretical convenience. Real-world workaround: turn off everything except adaptive cruise. Second, fuel consumption is crushing EPA estimates. Owners are seeing 20 to 22 miles per gallon on highways versus the rated 18. Use eco mode with ProPilot on flat interstates at 65 to 70, and the twin-turbo V6 actually delivers on efficiency promises. That's a legit advantage over the old V8. Third, wireless charging overheats iPhones and refuses to charge, according to some owners. But before blaming Nissan, restart your phone. It's an iOS bug, not hardware failure. The owner community figured this out in about 2 weeks. It's a ridiculously simple fix that would otherwise cost you hours of frustration. Owners love that the 2025 Armada shares its platform with the Patrol in the rest of the world, which means 70 years of Australian aftermarket support. Bull bars, rock sliders, snorkels, they should all bolt right on. Previous Armadas were orphaned US-specific designs with limited upgrade paths. This has international parts compatibility. Now here's the smart spec strategy. Base V6 Pro-4X, add the premium package in the US, maybe get this premium paint, skip the captain's chairs unless you have exactly 2 kids, and out the door for about 80 grand. Two-tone paint is an aesthetic choice that'll add $1,000 to your price and 0 functionality. Everyone's asking the same question. Why isn't this as exciting as a GTR if it shares the same engine? This V6 shares the same architecture, twin-turbo, 3.5 liters of displacement, direct injection, variable valve timing, all the GTR's fundamental engineering. But architecture isn't destiny. An engineer is hardware plus calibration plus mission assignment. The hardware shared, everything else has changed. The GTR's mission is to deliver violent acceleration, maintain power through redline, prioritize throttle response over everything, including smoothness or refinement from time to time. The Armada's mission, deliver progressive torque from low RPM, prioritize linear power delivery over peak output, and maintain smoothness while towing 8,500 pounds. Expected use case, highway cruising with camping gear. And here's the thing that most people miss. This isn't GTR compromise, it's GTR adaptation. The engineering foundation is identical, but here Nissan recalibrated power and torque curves, changed transmission programming, and optimized for hauling mass instead of attacking apexes. That's not making it worse, that's making it different for a different purpose. If you wanted 516 pounds of torque at altitude with 3 tons of family and cargo, this is exactly right. The engine didn't get worse, it just got reassigned. That's 6 things you need to know about the 2025 Nissan Armada Pro-4X. The ProPilot downgrade you're paying for, the badge anxiety tax that manifests in resale math, what body on frame and a great suspension actually does for driver engagement and communication over crossover isolation, how it drives when physics and purpose align correctly, the owner intel that determines whether $80,000 is well spent or regrettable, and why that GTR engine question everyone asks is fundamentally wrong. And if you buy one of these in the real world, it's probably going to require a little bit of justification to your friends, to your family, and maybe a little bit to your financial anxiety. If you value substance over status and capability over badge prestige, the justification exists. If you need your driveway to signal competence and maybe a little bit of good contrarian thinking, well, Nissan built this for you and approximately 17 other people nationwide. I'm Brian Makse. Thanks for watching The Driver's Cut. Don't forget to check out the full episode. The link's in the description. See you on the next one.